Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gray Area here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network, simulcasting on the Sparta HQ Network. I am Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner, as always,
This is Sparta!
the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Paniotis. Yasu, my brother, what is going on?
What is going on, my man? How was your day?
Busy. I did a lot of husbandly task today. I had to fix the garage door opener. You change the windshield wipers on the cars. Because the ladies, they don't do that kind of stuff. So you mow the lawn.
You want to break the nails.
So just all these things that sometimes the opposite sex will take for granted if we weren't around. But just things you got to do. You make sure the oil change is done, and you make sure that the cars are filled up and everything. So just going through, just doing those tasks that need to be done to keep a household functioning. So and I even cook tonight again. I usually cook Sunday dinner, so I'm doing all that today. So I feel I should get some brownie points for all the work that I did today. But feeling pretty good. Figure just trying to take care of myself, stay healthy. Next week, my birthday's next Monday, so so I'm just trying to coast into the next season, God willing, and but feeling good. I think that I got more in the tank that I need to empty out. So I'm just trying to be as productive as I can. It was a great year, and certainly having the opportunities that I had, the travel, and just all kinds of new experiences that I've had. I think overall it's been one of the best years I've ever had. So it's been
Nice.
It's been really good. But so I'll talk about that a little bit more next week. Like I said, God willing, next Sunday we'll have a show, and I'll be able to that'll be good. It'll be a good way to end the year on the Gray Area show with my birthday the next day. So I'm looking forward.
And don't forget, I'm going to announce it now because it is an early birthday
Yeah,
present.
go for it.
We are having a guest next week, and I'm going to email all the information to Joe to BMU tonight or tomorrow. The latest is we're going to be having a guest, 20-year veteran and another comedian,
Yes.
by Joe Beckwith. I might be pronounced his last name, so don't fucking come with pitchforks at me right now.
Yeah, and we got to give credit to our guy Dwayne White, who we had on the show. That was a major interview for us. He just came out with a Netflix series, so again, go back in the archives and watch that show. I had a great time with him.
It was
and
Amazon.
He's was it? It might have been. You're right. It was Amazon Prime. I think initially you told me it was Netflix, and then we had to switch.
Yeah, that was
over
my
to
fault.
Amazon Prime.
Oops.
So I said, now you got me repeating it. But yeah, it was on Amazon Prime. On Amazon Prime. So go check it out as well if you have access to it. But yeah, great interview, and he's certainly given us some leads that we're finally starting to come up on. And this is something that we want to have part of the show. We love having guests on. We love talking shop, especially with the veterans. And certainly what's really cool is what these guys are able to do post their military career and to spawn careers and vocations that they probably weren't even thinking of 10 years ago. And so it's great to see these guys getting back into the world and whatnot, and bringing from those experiences, bringing that sort of humor to the environment. So yeah,
I'm going to announce another guest is coming on, and I don't want you guys to fight over this, Paul, because he's brother Bennett. His name is Doug Bennett, also known as Mr. Persitarian, 20-year veteran. Also, he will be coming on. Also, he is also a comedian. He will be on November 7th, I believe. That's going to be the first or second week of November.
Right.
He's locked in already. I got one more working on right now.
There you go.
I'm hustling behind the scenes, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, certainly, appreciate what you're doing to certainly, always working towards the benefit of the channel. And but again, as well as certainly to guys we've had on, it's always good. You always want to leave a good report, because I know I remember even when we had Father Casadino on, we had a conversation prior to the show, and just call with him just to make sure he was going to be comfortable and whatnot. And that was certainly one of our better shows as well. And so certainly looking forward to having him back and other.
He will be back actually on the Smart NCU Network very soon. He's supposed to give me a date. We're going to be speaking on who give us the right, who can tell you who who can tell you the who kind of Christian you can be, something like that. I'm not sure how I'm going to title it yet.
Yeah.
We went on in our private group chat. Me and David kind of got into us a little bit about that.
Right.
So Paul came an idea we should do a show on it, and we're definitely going to be doing a show on that.
Yeah, indeed. I think that'll be a fascinating show as well. So, so lots of topics coming up, but certainly I think we pride ourselves on having a safe space. I mean, we'll ask, certainly, good questions, certainly that are hopefully engaging. But we're not here to smear anybody or make anybody look bad or whatnot. We just like to have honest conversations. And these guys who are willing to, because we understand also for a lot of these guys, depending on their role in the military, a lot of things they can't talk about. And so we're not going to be pressing guys on things that are confidential or whatnot. But, we just like hearing, the experiences of people. And especially, like I said, how once they get out of the military, how they were able to, reshape their careers and their professions, as they came out and re-entered the mainstream.
Unfortunately, the way the military is right now, and CQ literally witnesses firsthand during the when the parades in DC, because he was invited there.
Mm-hmm.
Social media has changed the military completely now,
Mm-hmm.
so they are pushed to be talk on camera in a positive light. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
in a job, you might be at a job and say, "I love my job," and something like, "I can't fucking stand this goddamn company."
Mm-hmm.
It's in the military; it's a job. At the end of the day, you
Yeah.
you might love it or hate it, but they only are allowed to talk for certain things. They have a whole team behind it. Says, "Hey, listen, you're not allowed to talk about this, and this." That's why I stay away to I do stay away from active members because I don't want to put them in a bad position.
Sure.
Because if the rank are called out or the unit, they can get a lot of heat. They can lose rank and pay. I'm not going to do that to the poor guys.
Exactly. Yeah. But like I said, we know guys who they're out and they're like sworn to like certain secrets what like they can't reveal for like 20, 30 years after they're out. I mean, so it's
20 is the maximum.
20. Yeah. So again,
It depends on your security level.
Yeah, so we know guys who had that kind of security. So
I know two guys are currently colonels. I cannot say the names.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot say what they do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can say is I asked them to come on, and both of them respectfully denied them. And you met one of them, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're going to use names.
Yeah.
And he said, "I love to, but I can't because of my job title and of my classification. They're above top secret. That's how classified they are."
Gotcha. Awesome. So stay tuned to the gray area. Like I said, both here and on the Spartan HQ network. My dog's trying to jump up on me right now. So it's like he gets to a point where he needs a little affection. So I'm just kind of rubbing him right now. But yeah, looking forward to get into this show tonight. Again, make sure you hit the like button. Certainly as you come in tonight, certainly helps the algorithm, and certainly anything that you want to give to the channel, consider giving a Cash App or a super chat to the Black Man Unfiltered network. So you see that scrolling at the bottom of the screen, and anything that you want to give to us personally, certainly our super chats will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So we got into a lot of heavy topics as of late. We're talking about energy, and we're talking about just all kinds of just different sort of global topics. Here I want to deal with something a little more personal tonight, and I wanted to deal with the topic of jealousy. Particularly jealousy in a romantic relationship. A lot of times you'll hear in these spaces now, jealousy is looked at as a quote unquote toxic word or toxic feeling or emotion. And I want to explore this tonight because honestly, I've always felt that a little jealousy is good. Like if I wasn't jealous of my wife, or my wife didn't have a little bit of jealousy about me, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable in the relationship. I mean, even in the Bible, the Bible says God is a jealous God. You know what I mean? So, it's is jealousy always wrong? And then when does it go from, if it is good in certain circumstances, when does it go from good to bad? And we've always also seen how bad jealousy is. We know, and again, anecdotally, because I don't think anybody's been able to really research this. I don't think it boils down to nationality or groups. We have seen certain people who seem to get jealous, like, angrily jealous certain ethnic groups or whatnot may be associated with that. But, again, I don't think there's anything definitive about that. I think those are things that, certainly, you got to treat everybody as an individual. But I have heard things like, especially with Latino women, if they get jealous, they can get very angry, and sometimes even violent with their jealousy when it comes to certain things. But again, I don't want to castigate or label an entire ethnic group or race with with that stigma. But you have seen some of that. And likewise, I would ask you, Peter, just off the top, when it comes to Greek men, Greek women, are they known to, again, just going totally anecdotal, are they known to have a jealous streak or nature to them more than what you may find from other Europeans or other ethnic groups or what have you? So you, as a Greek American man, what is what's been your experience with jealousy from Greeks? And I know you've dated different ethnicities of women. Have you seen jealousy manifest itself in a way that is, very unique based on your dating experience? And before you get into it, I also want to define what we mean by jealousy, because there's two terms that I see oftentimes interchanged, right? You have jealousy and you have envy. And I've always, had, a time trying to define those, and people have different definitions of those. But the one that I see more consistent and that's more applicable that I can apply to any situation is that envy comes from lack, meaning you have something, Peter, that I don't. And I start to feel envious of you because I don't have it. It could be a car, a woman, a job, a career, whatever. You have something that I don't have and that I've never had. But I'm feeling a certain way because I don't have it. So it boils down to a sense of inadequacy. Now, jealousy, on the other hand, usually comes from a sense of having something. So envy is that you don't have. Jealousy is that you have something, but you're afraid to lose it. So again, whether you have prestige or a woman or something that you feel that is yours, and you're afraid of losing that, and that causes or stirs up feelings or emotions. So again, when you talk about someone who's jealous, typically, and especially in a relationship, typically you're already in a relationship with them. You're not saying, oh, I wish I could have a girl like that, or I wish I was dating her. No, it's like you're already dating her. But then some suave guy comes around and winks at her and whatnot, and you start feeling a certain way. Again, it's a fear of losing something versus never having something that you wanted. So from that aspect, I would like, at least for the conversation, again, you can listen or look up other definitions. They may define a little bit differently, but the one that I've seen, like I said, most consistently that works. Jealousy comes from a possession that you're afraid of losing. Envy comes from never having, but desiring to have. Right. So just based on that. So again, we're talking about jealousy tonight. The idea of you think you have something, but then there's certain feelings that may come up because you may not feel that you are maintaining a certain status or certain position that you thought you had locked in, but now you're maybe fearful of losing. So I want to look at it from there. All right. So envy, that's another show. But jealousy, especially in relationships, whether you're dating, you're married, whatever type of relationship that you're in, that is what we're looking to explore tonight. And so, Pete, I just wanted to kind of, sort of set down foundation before we get too far into this thing, and also to level set the audience that anything that you may think about that's coming from, oh, you have something that I don't have, that's envy. And we're not dealing with envy tonight. We're dealing with the idea of jealousy, the risk of losing. And so I want to frame it from that perspective. So you can go ahead, Pete. Talk about it.
So this is a multiple different question. I'm going to answer it. Okay, so let's start to the first base. Yes, I have dated multiple races, from Latinos to sisters to Indian. The only thing I haven't dated is, believe it or not, is Asian and my own kind, Greek. So jealousy is very strong in Italians, I realize. 50-50 on the Black community.
Mhm.
The Irish hardcore on the Italians. Not always, but most of them. All right. I don't want to say put a X on their back saying target, stay away, is going to be gunshots fired. I'm not saying that. Like, I don't want the people coming out at my house with pitchforks and knives. I'm gonna be calling you, Paul, you're son of a bitch. So no, I'm not saying that, but they are. So what triggers it? The question is, it has to be something that triggers it always.
Right.
Talking to a woman that she doesn't know, like how I diffuse the situation. Oh, hey, this is so and so, my girlfriend. So it kind of like, oh, okay, she's just a friend or co-worker or associate or somebody he just knows. No big deal. Now, when it comes down to what kind of situation it is, that falls on it too. What are you meeting her? Are you, are you at a bar? Are you at a dinner or a business event with friends, church? What? Church should be out of the question to be jealous because you're at church for a reason, not because, hey, let me pick out that chick who has a big ass and big tits. Get over here, you. No. Most of them are married usually in church, at least in my church.
Yeah.
And I just literally had this conversation with two of my guys who are at church. So that's out of the question. A bar, I don't see you should be going to the bar without your other half. If you're dating, you're engaged, or you're married, because I feel it's very inappropriate.
To a bar.
Yes. To a bar or a club.
Yeah.
If you're out with your girlfriends or guy friends having a few drinks over dinner or shooting pool, I don't see a problem with that. Like a couple of guys from church were just talking about, hey, let's grab some cigars and head to the cigar bar one day. We don't have to go to the drink. There are two around here. One with it's dry, meaning no alcohol, B.O.B. Bring you, or one of the bar. I said, let's go to that one who doesn't have an alcohol, so we can just enjoy. We don't have to worry about driving home. Grab the Pete with me. So that's what, so I don't feel it's appropriate if you're in a relationship. You should be able to go to a bar. That should be off limits. And the whole shit.
Even if you're going with some guys to the bar.
If I'm not there, no. I think it should be off limits.
Gotcha. Because
when alcohol is involved, and I've seen it firsthand, she's all of a sudden forgets her common sense, all this stuff. All of a sudden, I'm not saying always. I would say probably 20 to 30% this may happen. She's getting very flirtatious. Some people get drunk. I know you don't drink, Paul, so you don't. You may not understand what I'm saying right now.
Right? No. I've been around it enough, so I know what happens. I've been in bars.
So you're drinking. You forget. You forget. 1 + 1 = 2. You're 1 + 1 = 5 now. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, you see that cute guy or you see that cute girl. You start talking to her, or suddenly you're dancing with her, and all of a sudden, her legs are wrapped around you. That's a no-no in my eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying that's always going to happen, but it's a strong chance. Even if you just had a kiss with her and you didn't do anything, that's still a form of cheating, no matter what. So I never felt comfortable with that personally.
Right.
Now with my experience with Latinos mostly, oh boy, they're the old saying, throwing fire to gasoline.
Yeah. Throwing gas on the fire.
Yeah. It's throwing, it's throwing gasoline
on the fire.
Yeah. It's throwing propane to the fire with the Latinos. The only race I have seen they're not racist, and it is weird to me, is Indians. And they're like, I dated an Indian woman, and she goes, "Oh, my ex-husband's sleeping over tonight." And like, this you should be cool with. I'm like, what? No, I am not.
Ex-husband.
Yeah.
So that but these Indian Americans are like Indian, like from India, like
Guyanese Indian Pacific.
oh, that's totally different.
Yeah.
Guyanese and Trinidadians, it's like it's another world. I mean, in fact, when we went to Jamaica a couple years ago, we had a
Mhm.
driver that took us around, and he's of Indian origin, but he doesn't even know like his Indian ancestry. But for
Okay.
a lot of those folks, like I say, Guyana, Trinidad, it's because I've been around because obviously because I'm in the IT field, I have a lot of friends who are Asian Indian. But
Mhm.
then I've been in Guyanese settings also because my girls, they had friends who were Guyanese, so we went over there for parties and whatnot. Totally different. I mean,
Yeah.
there is different from Asian Indians as I don't know. I mean, pick your French are from Germans. I mean, it's a very different lifestyle, but they're definitely more on the Caribbean side than they are the Asian
Indian.
Indians. I mean, they maybe some of the dress, maybe some of the saris that the women wear or something. Maybe there might be something similar to that, but mindset is totally different. It's not even
And
it's
I agree 100% because when I was dating him, we had a huge fight. Like, yo, I am not cool with this. This is inappropriate.
Mhm.
And she got so pissed off, she ended up calling her ex-husband. That's the fucking fucked up part. And he's
Mhm.
married, and she's cool with him because they have kids. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I told, listen, there are hotels down the fucking street. He can get one. Oh, nobody has money for like. But if he has money to drive from New York to here, he has fucking money for the hotel. I don't hear that bullshit.
Mhm.
And he even agreed with me. He goes, well, he's right. He's straight up like he's right. That
Mhm.
dude is right. I'm like, what? I'm like, she got mad more at him because I never met the guy. He's agreeing with me. I thought it was funny. I'm like, once you go, I'm like, my ex-husband is agreeing with you. I'm like, really? And I started laughing at him. Like, I literally broke in laughter. It's not funny. I'm like, it's hilarious,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah.
But my point is trying to get to with this is every race is different. I know the again, I have never dated them, but from my understanding of people that I know, Japanese women are very, very, very jealous.
Mhm.
They're not big about showing affection outside their homes,
Right. Right.
but they show more in private, and that's why they're so overprotective of their man.
Mhm.
Now I'll use me for example. All right, as Greek. When I was younger, I was very jealous very easily. It set me up like that.
Mhm.
Like if it didn't follow my ideas of dating, I didn't accept it.
Mhm.
If you went to the bar without me, like I felt that was, disrespectful. And my jealous would come like, who are you dancing? Who the fuck are you there?
Mhm.
Very simple.
Mhm.
So by that said, then as I got older now, I realized like I don't get jealous as much, but you have to give me a reason to get jealous.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Right.
Like I dated a woman who used to go to not a dance club, but a private club that I have to be a member to.
Mhm.
And she used to go there all the time with her friends. Like that did not make me jealous because it's not like a bar. Like you're gonna. All these guys are most likely are business owners.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? They're
Right.
that's who they are. There's a
Right.
private club, like a golf club.
Right.
So that's a
Let
little
me
different.
ask you: have you ever um had a woman try to make you jealous, or have you tried to make a woman jealous? And if so, how'd you try to do that? And what was the reason behind it? If so,
I have never done it on purpose, to be honest with you.
okay.
At least not consciously. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And if a woman did try to make me jealous, I wouldn't realize it because like I'm not that smart when it comes to that stuff. I was
Right.
single
Right.
for a reason.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. And so from your experience, have you seen? Because shout out to Edaman Williams in the building tonight. Also, my guy Eric and Mariana also in the building tonight as well. So Edaman said that basically that that there's nothing wrong with jealousy. All right. But I guess the question I have, and I agree with a lot of that. Like I said, I think if there's not a sense of, especially if you're married, um, I think that sense of belonging, or even, and again, I know this might not be PC in the world today. A bit of possession. Like I remember, that actress Anne Hathaway. Um,
Mhm.
she went on the show. I guess she had gotten married a few years ago, and she had used, basically she had just gotten married, and she had used a line that I saw that if you watch Game of Thrones, there's like a famous line that's oftentimes said between lovers in the show, like, I am yours and I am his and he is mine. And she said that, and a lot of folks weren't happy. A lot of women weren't happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is as I look, I am his and he is mine. I think that's a pretty nice kind of exchange. But there was a lot of women who were upset that it's like, oh well, he doesn't own her and that kind of language. But yeah, I think there's something about, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's my woman. Or for a woman to say, no, that's my man. My man's my man's my man's. I think that's something that's healthy. There's something about that says that I am not only loved, but I am desired. And that, no, I don't want anybody else to see you. And hopefully what I'm thinking a positive outcome of that is that you do those things that are required to keep your spouse, your wife, your husband, or your boyfriend or significant other or what have you. I think, a little jealousy, a little that sense of possession, I think in a positive light can really help to cement or build a relationship, that you're not just doing it out of fear, but there's like, that you love that person so much, or you desire them so much that, yeah, I'm going to do what I got to do to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something beautiful about that. I think, when my wife, she'll get on my daughters because, she'll cook for me sometimes, or she'll make sure, like she just made some smothered turkey wings a couple days ago. And usually she gets when she goes to the meat market, they have like the really big turkey wings and the small ones. She gets the big ones. And it's like, and the girls will be like, oh, the big ones are for dad. She's like, yeah. And they'll kind of like mock her a little bit. It's like, oh, you just doing it for dad. That's right. That my man's my man's my man's. Yes, that's my man. I'm gonna take care of my man. Get over it. And I like that. I like that my woman's like, all of the ladies back off. I like that. I don't mind that kind of now Eric, now you might be going to the extremes here. Randy Savage and Elizabeth, I think that might have gone to an extreme.
That was abusive jealousy. It's two different things. Jealousy and abuse.
So that and that's kind of what I know you're joking. I appreciate that. I wasn't even thinking about that before you brought it up. But I guess that's part of the question tonight also is, okay, there's such a thing, I guess, as a healthy jealousy. And then I guess is there a jealousy that's unhealthy? Now, I did have a couple sides. I checked a couple of resources before I got on tonight. So let me just share my screen real quick. And yeah, we can agree or disagree with, how they come to these things. But I think certainly the discussion is like, when is jealousy good and when does it turn bad? What is signs of unhealthy jealousy? And again, we're talking about this from the aspect of, again, you have something, you possess, just for, just using that word. But again, people may get offended at that. But you possess something and you're afraid of losing it, right? So you don't want to lose that particular thing. But let me bring this. So again, I got this from Couple Center. I got a couple sites that I reference in here, but Couple Center, and here are a few situations where what they define as mild jealousy is an appropriate response. So again, your partner is giving someone else attention, flirtatious or not. Just the fact that, again, this is somebody that you're with, and you guys could be at a party, at a dinner house or whatever, and you may find your spouse may be talking a little bit too long to somebody that you may not know. But, sometimes at a party, I know I've been to parties with my wife where we're not necessarily always together all the time. Says you big house parties, you may float into different conversations in different rooms. Girls may be talking about something, guys may be talking about something, and we just find ourselves back together later on. But you may notice that a partner might be talking to someone, especially of the opposite sex, a little bit long, and you might start feeling a certain way, at least to say, look, well, who is that? and whether or not that person is trying to hit on your partner, not the second one, someone else is giving your partner attention, flirtatious or not. So again, and this is something I've seen where people be like, yeah, when I'm with you or whatever, like you don't treat me, or you don't feel that kind of close to me or whatever, but I'm here in this place and people want to talk to me about stuff or whatever. So again, someone may find your partner attractive and may try to start a conversation, and they may not know that she's married off the top, or that you're dating if you don't have a ring on or something like that. So again, I think a healthy amount of jealousy in that situation is good. Now this one here feels a little bit more like envy. Your partner succeeded at something you are also working towards. So I think this is more of an envious situation, because again, it's not something that you had, but it's something that they were able to get that you weren't. And so I would put this more in the envy conversation. But let's just say if it was something that you thought you were good at. Let's say if like you were good at roller skating or rollerblading, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might have took your partner out on the floor or whatever, and they're falling trying to get up, but you're a good skater. But let's just say after a while they pick it up like really good, and they wind up being better than you at that particular thing, even though you introduced them to it, right? That can be then, I think, a jealous situation, because again, it was something that you had, what you felt was control over or mastery or whatever. Now this person comes in and they learn, it might have took you years to learn something, and they learn it in months or weeks or something like that. I mean, person may feel a certain way about that, rightly or wrongly, but nevertheless, you can feel a certain way when, again, you thought you were the expert on something, and now your partner, because they took an interest in it, now they're better at it than you are. And you may feel a certain way about that. The next one, your partner shares a special moment with someone else. Again, I'm not sure if this is necessarily an appropriate response, but again, I think what the article is saying is you may still feel that way. How you deal with it, I think, is what makes the difference. So again, you may win an award or something by working with someone, but I think it really boils into number 5. Your partner does something that makes you feel excluded.
See, that one is a gray area. No pun intended.
Yeah,
all right?
Sure. Talk about
because it. If I find out my woman is at a special moment with a guy, I'm gonna think the worst, because we're in a world now. It's very easy to cheat. Let's be honest here. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can be next to your wife right now, arguing mistakes, and she's on her phone thinking she's just scrolling through Facebook, but she's really on a dating app. So that to me is like, I would word that differently. If it was, let's say, a achievement of work or a moment accomplished, they work something else, I would not word it like that, because that's a very gray area for my opinion.
Well, even let's look at the example here. Like, so it's saying, so maybe I'm just reading it here. So number 4, maybe your partner went with their friend to a restaurant that the two of you have been talking about going to, or perhaps they shared their big news with a family member before telling you. Of course, you want to be their number one. So it could be like if let's just say that you were talking about going to this restaurant, but you and a friend of yours, and again, it doesn't even have to be romantic, right? It could be a girlfriend of hers, right? But you guys just went, but we were talking about going, and you were just looking forward to just going with her. Now the specialness of trying the restaurant out together might be a bit ruined because you already tried it already. So it's like you don't have that first instance of sharing that experience together.
Or he's right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If we're planning to go to this restaurant and you went, I'm not gonna fucking go. Fuck that. There's no point now.
Right. So it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman in that situation that went. I mean, the fact that, again, you guys were talking about it, you were guys sort of, I don't know if you were like semi-planned. It's not to say, okay, yeah, we're going to go to this restaurant, and then you just went before me or whatever. It was kind of in the air. It was talked about, but it actually came to fruition with that person. You may feel a certain way because, again, that was something that you might have been looking forward to doing with your significant other first. So I certainly think, yeah, I can certainly see you feeling a certain way about a situation where you wanted to have that special moment with that person first. The other scenario they had was, again, sharing big news with a family member before you. Now it could have been, let's say, if you found out, I don't know if this is a good example or not. You got a promotion at work, but then you called your sister and shared it with your sister first, or some other, some other kind of moment. But because that's your spouse, you would think that, I'm thinking, look, I should know that kind of bit of information first, not your sister, not your mother, not your auntie or whatever. I should know about those big I should know about those big moments first. You feel that, again, if it's you two, that you're the first source of information. Again, some may look at that as being petty, or that's just like an but some people, they just feel that, look, a big thing is, again, no secret, nothing that you would look at is like a secret, right? Like some couples is like, you don't keep any secrets at all, in fact, that's one that my wife actually did get a little bit jealous about one time. There was a friend of mine, and he told me something that he was really going through something, and it really kind of depressed me a little bit. So then my wife, she kind of saw my countenance, and she was asking me, it's like, where he was wrong or whatever. And said, I said, yeah, a friend of mine, he just told me something, but, I can't share with you what he told me. And initially she was like, okay, but then she came back to me later on, and she was like, but I'm your wife, and you're supposed to basically tell me everything, and I was kind of, firm on that. I think that, someone tells you something in confidence. If you told me something in confidence that you didn't want shared, I don't think it's my place to share that with my wife. That's something that that I just feel strongly about. I think there's confidences even in your marital situation, as long as, the caveat to that would be, as long as it will not impact my house. So anything that's going to possibly affect my wife, my kids, or whatever, then yeah, she's going to know. And I would be upfront with the guy saying, hey, if this is going to affect us, I got to tell my wife. But if it's just a secret that you just want, just quiet's kept between us, then I'm not sharing that with her, no matter how much she asks about it. I'm like, it's a private matter done. But she may feel a certain way, feeling, again, point number 5, that she feels excluded from that situation. And she was like, look, I'm your wife. I'm the closest person to you. You can tell me anything, or but now some people are like, look, we married, and look, anything goes. Or like, if you tell me something, trust and believe my wife's going to know about it. I would be honest enough with you to say
I'm going to
that.
cut you up for 2 seconds here, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to add my little 2 cents here, right? So you and CQ are exactly alike with this, because I have opened up very much to you and CQ and to Dave and you guys, right? I don't believe there's no secret between our brotherhood, all right? So, and before me and you even met, and I was going through some stuff, right? And I was the only person I really had to talk with CQ, and I asked him, did you tell your wife about this stuff? Like, really, I only told her you were going through stuff. I didn't get in detail, like, why? She's your wife. Like, it's really not her business, he goes. If he just told me that to make me feel a little better, or that's how he was, whole different story. I turn around and tell him, like, dude, you can share the information. I don't care. I personally believe, if anything, I tell people straight up, if you're going to tell me something and I'm in a relationship, or when I was engaged, she's going to find out. Don't tell me things you don't want her to find out, because she's going to find out. If I personally will be the same way, like your wife's like, yo, you didn't tell me. Well, what the fuck? I'm going to have an issue now. What are you hiding? If you can hide something this small, what big things can you hide? I feel like a small thing can equal to a big thing always.
Right.
That's my pushback. I know you're a little different. Your relationship with your wife is completely different.
Yeah. And like I said, she didn't like it. Right. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't like she was agreeing with it. But I kind of stood my ground there, and I'm like, I'm sorry. This is something that, if I got it, there's certain things that I know that I'm taking to my grave. And that's just now in the chat. I mean, how do you guys feel? For those who are certainly in the chat, how do you feel about that? If someone tells you a secret in confidence and you're married, does that stay with you, or is it basically it's the spouse is gonna know about it? How do you feel about that? I've always kind of felt that way. And again, we got over it. It wasn't like something that we kind of constantly went over,
major,
or it wasn't something that made her insecure. Oh, I'm not sure if I could be secure in our relationship because you won't tell me what's going on. Yada yada. It wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely was something that kind of irked her because, again, we're pretty open about everything. But if you came to me and be like, look, I got to lay this on you, and I don't need anybody to know about this, I'm not sharing. It's just that's that's just me. But I think others may feel different about that. The wife, the spouse, there's nothing not shared. But and I get the where you can kind of go back and forth on that. And
the only thing I will when I share something with you, for example, I already have the mindset your wife's going to find out. Not if she's going to know, is when. That's my mindset. So, and I told you a lot of personal things over the years. We've been knowing each other. So, if you told your wife, I wouldn't care.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, the only thing I ask in return for your wife, please don't, spread my business to other people. However, I don't know these people, but keep between you and her after I share my information.
Well, that's the danger, right? you say it's only going to be between us, and then the logic would be, yeah, but that's my best friend or that's my sister, and my sister and I, we share everything, and I can't talk. So now it goes outside of me, and then it goes to the sister, and then it goes to so and so forth. So again, a lot of things start out that way. And you think there's, your boys, it's my boys. We ride or die together, and we share everything. But sometimes things have a habit of getting out, and you going back to the person. It's like, who'd you tell? It's like, nah, I only told my wife. And then you got to ask the question, well, who did she tell? And so on and so forth. So again, those kind of things, can get real,
the
dicey.
person who's really bad is keeping conversations private, and I'm gonna put him on blast, and I have spoken to him multiple times about this. Is David, believe it or not? I'm like, I have conversation with him, and all of a sudden I find other people know, like, I have literally yelled at David multiple times, like, dude, when we're talking between us, it's not online like now, it's on a phone call. The same thing with you. If it's on a phone call about something about the gray area, you don't need to spread it to the whole team. It's just something silly. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said,
stupid. It wasn't serious.
My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. So that I kind of live that moniker, even when it comes to, again, secrets, confidences, and things like that. I try not to escalate. I try to keep stuff in until I'm given freedom to do so. Now, again, there were things like, for example, about my mom that I didn't share until her funeral, and nobody knew what I went through. Nobody, it's not like I was just sharing stuff or whatever. I just didn't think it was necessarily appropriate to talk about such matters when she was alive. In fact, I did a show here on BMU for The Plug. I did a show with, with the host, and, talking about, my mom with her mental health issues and whatnot. I mean, those were things I just didn't feel comfortable sharing while she was alive, even though there's probably 1,000,000 to 1 chance that you even hear about that. Oh, you're talking about, I mean, that wasn't even a concern. I just didn't feel comfortable with that or sharing that aspect of myself until she had passed. And then I felt, okay, well, now I have the freedom to do so. But yeah, for some time, a lot of folks, and even at the funeral, the guys were coming out to me, friends of mine that I've known for years. And it was like, oh, I never knew that. They just didn't know what that I endured. So yeah, so I'm just built like that, when I feel it's an appropriate time, that I will share it, but I'm not trying to move that up, certainly while the person's living, because again, you just don't know what kind of repercussions can come from that for that person who you're trying to protect. And now the question that I have for you is, would you keep a secret? I don't want to veer too off topic. I want to get back to the jealousy conversation, but if you knew the person that's closest to him, so if that person had a spouse and you knew that, let's say that person was sick, but it wasn't sharing it with the spouse or what have you, or something to that, something to that effect, or let's say a situation, getting back to the jelly conversation, let's say if someone you knew was flirting with somebody or someone was stepping out and you were good with both of them, would you feel the need to tell the other partner that, yo, my man's stepping out? Even you might even try to talk to the dude or the woman, and they're still doing it, but you're friends with both of them. Would you feel, how comfortable would you be? And that's that's a zone nobody wants to be in. But what if it did come down to, it's like, look, I gotta tell you, what's going on, because I'm seeing it and I can't, it's uncomfortable, like I'm in the house with you guys and knowing what I know, but so what would you do in that situation?
So I have a rule, and my rule. I try not to be friends with my friends' wives, so I don't want to be put in that situation. Great example, CQ's wife, Mrs. CQ. All right. I've been knowing her for about 20 years, like I know CQ, right? I don't have her cell phone. I do have her on Facebook. We talk when I see her once or twice a year. Once in a blue moon, I might throw a comment on her. I like something she posted, but that's it. Maybe I would send her a message, hey, oh, I see Logan, her son Logan's getting big. He as soon as he's gonna be taller than you, small shit like that. I keep it very minor. We really catch up when I see her, but it's very small talk. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing I don't want to talk to her. It's just I try to keep that line there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I'm not even saying that,
I'm going to use an example right now.
Gotcha.
If somebody I know, let's say, Jeffrey and Joanne, for argument's sake, right? I don't know anybody like that. I'm using the name. If Jeffrey's stepping off of his wife, I'm going to fucking say something to his face. Simple as that. Me personally, I would break ties that friendship and tell her, and I'm sorry. And I want
you would tell her. You would break off the ties and tell her.
Yeah, simple. Yeah. Because I know how that feels, and it sucks. That feeling, because I've been cheated on multiple times, and that is the worst feeling in the world. But I won't do without proof, like picture proof. I'm talking about. It's just saying the first thing is, you're a liar, you're jealous, blah blah blah. But if you have picture proof, here you go. Now she has no room to talk. I know it's fucked up what I'm saying. Like I'm destroying a family, but you're destroying your family if you're stepping up. If you need something, speak up. Simple as that. There's no reason to step out.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a tough call for me. But again, if I know them, and again, you gotta be. I would say this, in that situation, you got to be ready for anything that comes. I mean, you could talk about like violence, and I know you're a martial artist and whatnot, but you got to be ready for that, because even if the guy, he could be the dirtiest guy out there doing all kinds of downlies and stuff, but you leak that out, and he's going to be at your doorstep with, whatever, a bat, or, say, step outside or whatever. So I'm just saying, so you have to be ready for the smoke that you would get, whether the guy is justified or not. You have to be ready for that. If you think that, okay, if I'm gonna reveal this, then I know I need to be ready. I need to get my arms ready. I need to get my lightsabers ready, because this guy could be coming. Yeah, so this guy might be coming over. So I'm just saying, as long as you're ready for the smoke, then I don't have an issue with it. But yeah, I would certainly feel compelled. But that would be like the hardest thing to do. If I knew somebody, like I said, if a couple, we've had kids, our kids have been over playing, and you have this image that, or certainly she's under the impression that everything's fine, and my man's stepping out or whatever. I'm like, that'd be something that especially if me and my wife, if we both saw it, we might have to be like, yeah, we got to tell her. Yeah, it's just Eric says a tire iron is better than a lightsaber. Maybe.
No, it's not. Let's say we can slice the arm off.
Yeah. I think he's in real terms. But let's get back to this jealousy conversation. So I guess when does so again, we looked at some scenarios where jealousy is good, right? But and especially I like the type of, I wouldn't say jealousy, but just the fact that if you love and respect your partner enough that you want to do the things that keep situations from happening, right?
Mhm.
I mean, if you're taking care of all your business at home, the hope is, and again, it's not foolproof because I've seen some people who've seen to do that and they still get stepped out on, which is pretty messed up. But it's like you're doing everything, but the person's still going to step out. That's bad. But when does jealousy get bad? In
When it
your
becomes
view?
toxic.
Okay, so let's look at that. What are some of the toxic things? So again, jealousy is like, who is that? You might say jealous, like who is that? Who are you talking to, or what have you? When does it go from that kind of healthy jealousy, that sense of possession? What's that guy talking to my woman for? Versus when does it get bad? When does it cross the line in your view from a healthy to a toxic sort of jealousy? And I can in my mind I can picture the extremes, right? I mean, if there's no place for violence ever. You know what I mean?
You have never dated a Latino then.
I'm just saying there's still no place for it. I know, or at least I've heard what can happen. I know, remember the famous story with Tiger Woods, when his wife found out about his cheating, whatnot, she chased him with a golf club or whatever. So, and that thing, and, I've heard, like, Eric talked about the tire on, you got to watch those golf clubs. You bring because the way they're designed, you come swinging full force with a golf club, you can take someone out. I mean, it is just the dynamics of it. It is very dangerous to wield that thing, especially towards a person. So that those kind of we can recognize those kind of extremes. So what are some of the things that you may find that this is getting a bit much, and now you're getting into unhealthy territory here.
When it becomes starts becoming a scream match to the point of who has the loudest voice, going back and forth. Mm-hmm. When it gets obviously physical, when it gets mentally abusive, that becomes toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And when she doesn't tell you things, like she's hiding things. For example, my ex, she was in the DR. All right, so just get some dental work or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And somehow, some way, I hear another guy in the background. Like, who the fuck is that? Mm-hmm. That's not your dad's voice. I know your dad's voice. I know your brother's voice. Oh, that's my brother's friend staying here for a few days. Like, when the fuck were you going to tell me? So I kind of lost my shit a little bit. So you got two guys that I don't fucking know sleeping on the same roof, single, mm-hmm. in a different country. Mm-hmm. And in what shape or form I went to her, I'll be fucking okay with this. And probably say some things I wasn't really proud of. Some things that were a little more inappropriate for this way, mm-hmm. towards them. Mm-hmm. Like me snapping their necks kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But again, I lost my shit. To me, that was a toxic situation. Why wouldn't you tell me they were staying there for a few days with you?
But still, you think so? Is the toxic? Because again, I think your question is a valid one. That's why I'm kind of resting on my head. Your inquiry isn't toxic. Why are you living or staying in a place with two guys that I don't know, and you didn't consider it proper to tell me about this interaction? Now, the toxic could be, I'm assuming, your profanity, you're cursing her out, you're calling her the B word, you're calling her the S word, you're calling her or those guys. I'm just saying, but that to me is where it can get, when you talk about the abusive language.
It got her saying, I'm stupid, I'm overprotect, I'm jealous, she's been a big girl, she's been handling herself all these years without me. her side of stuff became very toxic.
Mhm.
You know, she wants a man with who wear his pants on, you know, stuff like that. A man who can, has a bigger dick than I did, stuff like that.
Oh, so she really started to
Yes, she
belittle
went low
you.
blows.
Yeah.
You know, and then my self-defense mechanism, like when I see these motherfuckers, I'm gonna snap their fucking necks and put them in the grave. And like that's how I got at the point. But that's
Yeah.
my defense mechanism at that point. Like
Yeah, just
you
kinda- you gotta
I
calm
won't
down.
I won't belittle a woman, but nothing stops me to belittle these motherfuckers because why the fuck are they in the same house? Where that was not
Yeah.
inappropriate, I found.
Yeah.
So my mechanism is to threaten them, to go after them because I want to attack the woman I'm loving. Because if I cross that barrier, it doesn't make me any better than her at this point.
Right.
I'm trying to be the better man still.
Right.
Even if she doesn't deserve it, to be honest with
Right.
you.
Right. But what about more, I guess, subtle? And again, I think we've talked about these probably loosely in other shows of context.
Mhm.
But as far as what I would consider more stalking, like checking her phone, and I'm not saying that even if she, let's say, gave you a reason, but checking her phone, checking her messages, checking just things like that. Or I don't know if you have Find My, like in my house we don't care, like we got to Find My on the iPhone, we got to Find My person or whatever. So my wife always knows where I'm at all times. she's like, oh, you're at Marshall's again. It's like, yeah, I'm at Marshall's. I mean, so we just keep tabs on each other like that. She says, oh, I'm going to the park for the walk, whatever. I may check it, I may not. But so
very early in a relationship, and I told her like I was the type of person like text her, hey babe, I'm leaving, I'm going so I'll be back in a little bit. Just so I'm okay, I'm safe, nothing crazy is gonna happen to me. And she didn't like that idea, so I gave her to a choice, like you're gonna find me or you're gonna let me know, and she was pretty honest about that. She told me.
So are you insistent that your woman has to tell you if she's going out anywhere, she has to tell you where she's going all the time and where and when she's coming back?
Most times, I don't say every single time. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not saying like, okay, I know her schedule is like Monday through Friday. She leaves at home at 8:00, and so I'm like, at least text me to get home to work. Like, hey, I work safe. I know you're okay at least. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, those little text messages do make a difference. It might sound like I'm cajoling. I don't see it like that. I'm just making sure my woman's safe and okay.
Yeah. And some people would. It's like, again, there's people who they say you're in a relationship, but at the same time, they want their independence to go and to do whatever they please. I know it. I'm just saying we know.
Let's talk about that in 1 second. When I was going through therapy, if you remember, right? And I asked my therapist, am I cajoling? She goes, actually, as a woman, no. That's what most women want. But when they have it, they cannot deal with it because they want the fucking independence. And I say that for a reason. Like, it's even as a male, you don't have independence when you're with somebody. You have to be the most unselfish person when in a relationship. And you talked about that multiple times. You have to put your wife's needs first before yours, and vice versa. So, and I don't get the society like, oh, I want to, do me. Okay. But I want a man. You can have it both ways, sweetheart. I'm sorry. You got to pick one or the other. In a relationship, you have responsibilities. Like whatever it is, if you're a new relationship, old relationship, mid relationship, whatever your status are, even first starting a relationship, you're going to figure out, okay, my responsibilities are, hey, I'm going to hang out with me every Saturday. Argument. I'm just using stupid examples.
Yeah.
And when you guys are living together, okay, you do the laundry, I do dinner, kind of thing. Or you, like in your case, you do the man in your work, your wife does the more house cleaning stuff, I assume. So everybody has their own responsibilities in the household,
right?
And now saying, but they don't need a man in their life, and I hate when they say, you hear that shit. You need more men than you think.
Right. Yeah, it's it's like people will always try to fight for that type of a situation, or as if that's an ideal situation. Like, yeah, I want my independence, but yeah, I want a man also. Or I want and something. Look, you can do anything, but you can't necessarily do everything, or at least you can't do everything at once. You want the kids, you want the home life or whatever. But if you're working in a job or a profession that's going to take you out of home for extended periods of time, that's not ideal. And so, people, the idea of being accountable, which is really kind of where I kind of settle in on this. It's like people just don't want to feel accountable to another person. So yeah, so why you always ask me like where I'm going out or where I'm going, and I'll be back later tonight. It's like, I shouldn't have to tell you my whereabouts every living second. And for me, that's such a foreign thing. Like I said, my wife and I, we know pretty much where each other are pretty much all the time. The only times I've ever gotten sideways, I know she did a little bit of I think she had some free time, especially during the pandemic. She did some Lyft. I mean, some home kind of transport, like the food. I forget the name of the Instacart.
DoorDash.
Instacart. Yeah, Instacart. Like, you go shopping for somebody and then drop stuff off. And so she would go out, and a lot of times she wouldn't give me a time. Sometimes she would give me a timetable, sometimes she wouldn't. And sometimes those timetables matter because either I need to take the car to do something or we need to do something else. And it's like, okay, I'll be home at 5 and she can get home till 7. Or, whatever it is. And I'm kind of asking, like, I'm kind of concerned because I'm not, where you been all this time or whatever. But generally, I'm pretty good. If you tell me you'll be back at 7 and you're at 7, I'm good with that. If you're supposed to be back at 5, but you get back at 7, then I may again, I'm asking questions. I'm like, okay, well, what happened? Why weren't you back?
So I'm not trying to defend
time?
her right now because as somebody who has done Uber, those car service things, you really, when you pick up a ride or an order, you don't know where it's going. Sometimes it just tells you, oh, you got to pick it up from here. Okay, simple enough. Whoop, and then you realize, oh shit, it's a 45-minute drive where I'm going now.
Right.
Just kind of throws you off the path. They're trying to fix that, but they've been saying that for like 2 years now. So sometimes you don't know how long it's going to take. At least she did that, not car service. People are getting in the car. You don't know.
Right. Yeah. It's just she goes and shops and just drops food off and keeps it moving. But sometimes she may get like in the middle of one order, she may pick up 2, 3, 4 more orders, even though she might have said, okay, yeah, I'm going to stop at 5, but then she goes till 7. And, so that's the only time I can ever recall we ever got sideways in terms of just the expectation that she was supposed to do it for a certain period of time, or we might have had plans to do something later. But again, she got an offer that she couldn't refuse. Oh, I got a $50 order. I can make this one. And then you wind up, it costs you a couple more hours and we miss.
Yeah.
And we miss something. So again, those are probably the only times we ever got a little sideways with the, hey, just to be a bit more disciplined, or for her to say, okay, yeah, I could go for this next one, but I would rather be early with, if we have a commitment or a time period, I'd rather be early than late. If I got to end at 4:30, I'd rather do that than extend it out to 6:30 if the plan was to get together at 5. So again, that was the only thing we had to kind of come to terms on. And but outside of that, we've been pretty transparent with each other when it comes to, again, where we are, what we're going to be doing. And again, she has, like I said, we don't keep secrets. Like, she has all my codes, right? She has all my passwords. I mean, or at least access to them, and whatnot. We don't, we don't feel that our space is has to be, these independent places. If I need to get something from her or whatever, or access to something, her work records or whatever it is, because I'm doing taxes or something, I need to find, I need you to get into. So she'll just give me your password. Hey, download what you want. And then, so again, we haven't set, I guess we haven't created, basically what I'm trying to say, we haven't created an atmosphere where jealousy can come up. Even, and like I said, with me, I actually appreciate. So we talked about where people, hit on your wife or flirt or whatever. And she'll tell me, like, when she used to go to the gym a lot, oh yeah, God tried to talk to her and stuff like that, at the gym and all that.
It's funny you mention this. When I was younger, I was in my 20s. I was dating a girl, and I have a habit of dating girls with big chests because that's what I'm attracted to. Okay,
right.
I'm trying to be respectful. And
I understand. You use the proper terms.
I got her a hard necklace, so it's a little lower, so it's kind of closer to cleavage area, but not. So
Right.
this dude felt it was appropriate because it was flipped upside down to grab it and turned it around.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, she looked behind me and she goes, "Oh shit!"
Oh
And
man.
I was her instructor at the time. All right. And I stepped in. I shook my hand like, "Hey, I'm Pete, by the way." And I started squeezing. He goes, "Hi." And he goes, "Her fucking boyfriend. You touch her again." I went to her. "I'm gonna rip your fucking arms off completely, and you're never gonna play band ever fucking again." Do we understand each other, little fucker? He literally pissed himself. I'm not joking, Paul. When I
Wow.
say he pissed himself, we looked down like, "Did you just piss yourself?" He goes, just shook her head and just walked away.
Wow.
I'm like, she looked at him like, "Did you really have to do that?" Like, yeah, it was actually kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with almost anything up to touching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can look. I tell all the time, look all you want. You know, if I'm not there, if you like, say, if I had to go to the restroom or something, and you came up and you tried to kick and I saw that or whatever, I may even give you that. I may even come back to you and say, hey, well, first of all, I can't be mad at you to an extent because you got good taste, but she's with me. And I've never really had a problem after that. I never had a guy trying to push up and be like, okay, who are you or whatever. I'll step to, I'll step to your gun. I'll take you. I've never had those kind of situations. I know I've heard stories of guys being bold enough to try to do things like that. But typically anybody who wants to pay my wife a compliment on how she looks, or even my wife has gotten compliments on just on how she carries herself. Class, demure, just very, just nothing out of pocket. And I can certainly understand why people would find that attractive. And for me, I'm like, all you're doing is you're just stroking my ego, right? You're basically validating the choice that I made. So I've never gotten jealous in that sense of another person or another man complimenting or at least again, if I'm not there, like the stuff at the gym, I'm like, if the guy stepped up to you, I never looked at that as a negative. It's always been, yeah, I mean, I pick somebody who's desirable. And I think that's, I think that's what, if people are honest, I think that's what everybody wants. Who wants to be with somebody who nobody else wants?
See, the gym thing, I do completely understand, because let's be honest here, Paul. Let's forget for a minute you're married for 1 second, right? If you're at a gym and an attractive woman walk by, it's normal to look. Eye candy, it's called.
Yeah.
But you're not touching, you're not hollering, you're not doing, you're just looking.
Mm-hmm.
You're not human if you don't look.
Right. Well, like I said,
I find your wife. That's one rule I was saying.
Yeah. Well, like I said, even to the point of, again, trying to talk. Like I said, let's say if we were meeting at the gym, but I was, running, she got there before me, and some guy was trying to talk to her at the treadmill or whatever. I may step up, I may introduce myself or whatever, and it says, I'm her husband, blah, 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 whatever. But again, I'm not upset about it. Or I'm not going to go to her and be like, oh, well, who was that? Or why was he talking to you? Or something like that. It's like, no, I mean, like I said, my ego has been elevated. I've been in rooms where it's like all attention was on my wife. And I'm certainly not jealous to the point where to say, well, all attention is on me. I'm like, I don't mind being ignored in the room. If all eyes are on my wife, I'm good. And I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving with the flyest girl in the room, because again, she's getting in my car and going home with me. So I never looked at that as a negative.
That doesn't bother me either personally. Like, she's talking like, and I'll go up to her like, what was that about? She goes, oh, he was just trying to hit on me, and like, and I just pass him and like, I'm with him, and like, and she afterwards she comes in and kisses me and like, yeah, he's my man kind of thing, and he moves out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I never had issues that I had to go blow to blow with somebody because he's gonna probably lose most likely.
Now it's interesting you talked about the bar thing, and that's where I certainly would agree with you, because again, unfortunately, you got some people who get bolder once they get a little alcohol in them.
Oh yeah.
So again, you could say all those things. I'm married, I'm this or that or whatever, but guys can be a bit more aggressive, or even women. I've seen, when you get kind of slushy or whatever, and you start hitting on a guy or whatever, and be like, I'm married or whatever, and she just She just won't get off you. So again, sometimes those spirits can loosen you up to such a degree where you get some of that alcohol courage, and you want to then further something that's not really there. So certainly, I would certainly agree. Like even with my wife, there's certain places that I will not go. So yes, we've gone to dinner, we've gone to clubs, certain clubs we've gone to. But then there's other clubs that I know I'm not going to. Now we don't do as much clubbing as we used to back, certainly before the kids.
You even move like that anymore?
we did a lot of clubbing when we were like first married. Those first couple years with no kids, yeah, we went out like almost every other weekend or whatever, dance clubs in the area, New Jersey, New York area. We would club almost every week, and it was cool because I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, because it's like here, it's like before I met her, before I got married, I would go to clubs to try to meet girls and dance and stuff like that or whatever. Look, I got a regular dance partner all night. We can do the bump and grind. We can do all the kind of stuff, whatever. But this is my wife, and I'm taking her home with me. Back then you used to try to score with the girl at the club and either get her number, or some guys got lucky they went home with her that night or something like that. But then you didn't know what you were going, you were bringing home. But this was like I could do my dirty dancing, but I can do it with my wife and go home with my wife. So we thought that was like the coolest thing initially. But but again, there's certain clubs you just realize after a while, you just thought like, hey, this is probably not a safe place. I mean, just the clientele in some of these places are such where guys will try to big up. And even though you can have the ring and all that kind of stuff, some guys, again, they get some of that man courage, or that, once you add some alcohol to it, it becomes a bad situation. And certain clubs were known for fights breaking out over jealous conflicts, or you're in the club and the guy just pats feels your girl's booty when you're in the club, or like you said in that situation with the necklace and all that. But I've seen guys be a lot more aggressive than that. And now you're in a situation where, okay, is this going down? Right? Are we going to are you going to go to blows at this point, or are you going to like try to just get the heck out and just get home? So that's another issue. When it comes to jealousy, some guys, their temper can get to a point where, again, fighting breaking out. Now, again, it sounds good at first, but there may come a time where you'd be like, the best thing to do, not necessarily what you want to do, but the best thing is to remove yourself and your lady from that situation, because you get into a fight.
In our age, we're not much different. We only have a few years apart. Really think about it,
right?
And to get arrested at this age over fighting is so retarded. Like the bar I go to is the Vault 363. Never ever having gone. It was some close calls, but the bouncers are on the people are like white on rice. Now the bar Philly Pub, I'm gonna call this shit out. They're trying to do it similar with the Vault doing, DJ and all that stuff, but the space so tight, fights break out every single night.
Yeah.
So literally, I know most of the cops around the area. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. You know that. Yeah. And so I look at them like Philly Pub, and like, unfortunately, again, and they're waiting outside till that fight breaks out so they can go arrest the guys. They're posted out there for a reason now.
Yeah. Yeah. But you say at our age, I don't think it's good at any age, right?
Well,
you
fighting?
Do not want there's so many things that can go wrong.
Are we talking about fighting right now, or we're talking about jealousy?
Fighting. I mean, like I said, so you in a club.
Oh yeah, I never fought. I never fought in a club. I think stupid.
And I'm saying you in a club, maybe you on the dance floor or whatever, and you with your lady and she's looking fly or whatever, and a guy comes up and just feels her booty, right? Or feels her boobs or whatever, and she knows it, and she's like, hey, he touched me or whatever, and you ready to up this thing to DEFCON 5 and go all out. Is that the smart move in that situation, or do you pull back and say, let's get out of here before something pops off? So I don't know whether you're 25 or my age at 55 or 35. I don't know if there's any good age where that happens.
They came close for me to always was in bracelets, like I call it. All right. It was a place called Cavo. It was in Astoria. It's not around anymore. The business got sold out.
Mhm.
Now they were doing business. The partnership just wanted to retire and move on. My
Right.
dad knew the owners,
Mhm.
so I used to always go there. At this point, I'm in my 20. I was 28, 29 around there. All right.
Mhm.
My cousins there. My other two cousins were there. We're just all having a good time. It was around December time because we used to go out after my birthday, but early enough for his birthday because our birthday's so close to each other. Mine's 29th November. His birthday December 10th.
Mhm.
So, and my cousin goes up to me like, "Yo, this guy won't leave me alone." Like, "What's up?" I went to her. He's following me all over the club, and my cousin is a trainer like you, but that's what she does. She works at 3 different gyms. She watches her diet. She has a physique on her. The woman does. At 59 years old, she has a good physique.
Mhm.
She was 51 at the time. All right.
Mhm.
And I went up to the guy very politely. I went, "Dude, walk away." I did the hand motion, walk away. She's not interested. Instead of doing that, and got in my face like, "Who the fuck are you?" "I'm his cousin, dude. There's no problem." And then he got in my face even closer, like to the point he's like nose to nose, like bend to me, like he's gonna make out with me.
Mhm.
And I looked at him, I'm like, I said loud enough for him, like, "Get out of my face, or you're going to have a bad night." Minor, dude. Remember, he's a tall guy. He's about
Mhm.
your height now,
Right.
all right? And I know the balancers. I know the owners.
Yeah.
So I give him 3 times, like, "Dude, get out of my face, or you're going to end up on your ass."
Mhm.
So because he has bent down to me, and that's the stupidest thing you ever can do because you remember how tall you are versus me.
Yeah, you gotta keep your distance. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So I literally just pushed him, but I picked him up from his armpits,
Mhm.
and I put my my hips into it like a martial art
Mhm.
move,
Mhm.
and he went from one side of the bar to the other. He was like looking around, open mouth. How the fuck did I get over here? All of a sudden, you see the bouncers grabbed him and threw him right out.
Right. Right.
And I was like, I put my hands up, like, "Oh, I'm next." He goes like, looked at me like they came up, fist pounded me, like, "Cool." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Really?"
But I think you're kind of making a case for me. The case is, again, you want.
That's my point. That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
That's my
You
point.
need to be in
It
places
wasn't
where
worth
you.
it.
Yeah.
I could
But
have
you
been
were in a
more.
place. But you were in a place though, where again, when you were known
Correct.
and you had a bit more control of the situation.
And
I'm saying there's a lot of
I wasn't
places where
intoxicated.
if
I
you're
had 2
not
drinks in me only.
right, but I'm just saying, but you're in a place where you're known.
Correct.
Or you knew that the outcome was going to go to a certain thing. So again, having control of if you go into a place you've never been, let's say you go to this club, you heard about it, whatever, you went there the first time and something comes off. Again, you don't know the scene, you don't know who's in there, you don't know if that guy's connected, you don't know anything. So I'm saying in those situations, it might be best just to again get yourself at, even though your lady is such where she wants you to kick this guy's butt.
Mm-hmm.
But is
back,
that wise in that situation? The whole Will and Jada situation or whatever. I mean, it's like the slap or whatever, because oh, he offended me, so I need to go, so I need to defend my woman's honor and
that
go
was
and
stupid
do X,
too.
Y, and Z. But I'm just saying, a lot of people find themselves in that situation where it's the smart move. Remove yourself from the situation and get out of there, because again, you don't need that kind of heat. You don't know the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, a lot of times my wife and I, we may go to certain places, but there's certain, if the place has a reputation, it's like, nah, especially when we're back in our clubbing days, we were like, nah, it's probably not a good idea that we go there. Yeah, I mean, it's a good vibes, good music and everything, but yeah, you can get rowdy because, again, people get that, we used to call it liquid courage, right?
Yeah. So it was another bar called Central in New York. I'm not sure if it was around. It was a pretty popular bar.
Mhm.
If that happened at that bar, most likely I would have been thrown out, and even cops called me, to be straight up to you.
Right.
That situation went in my favor because I knew the bouncers and the owners. But that could have been turned for also if I had the mindset I had now, not as hot-headed like I was back then.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even done that. I would probably went up to the bouncers, "Yo, get this guy out of here. He's causing problems."
Yeah.
And they would have escorted him out. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I go to now, I know all the guys because my buddy Frank DJs there, right? I go help him out. I help him set up. I help him break down.
Mhm.
In the same time, I enjoy my time. I have a couple of drinks. It's only 8 minutes from the house. I'm not driving. I'm not hurting. I'm not drunk. And there have been situations I looked at a bouncer like, and he knows when I nod to him, I'm like, all right, they get it. They go into action. And they like escort the people out.
Yeah.
That has happened only since they took over ownership, because it used to be an Irish bar. Now is a more high earner bar.
Right.
It's going on like 4 months now. 2 times. No, I was gonna say once. No, actually 2 times that situation. That's not a bad track record, to be honest with you.
Right. Right.
But again, they're cool guy. They make sure everybody's having a good time at the end of the day. And most of all college kids on Friday and Saturday night, and that's the issue. College kids think they're untouchable.
Mhm.
That's why I personally hang out at the DJ booth, because I don't want to get involved with that shit. I'm too old for that crap.
Yeah.
And even when I was younger, I didn't want to get involved with it. But back when I was younger, I also was a hothead. So when shit popped off, I was ready.
Mhm.
Now things pop off, I'm like, I'm going this way. You guys fight this way. I'm out of here.
Right.
No point.
Let me get back to again, maybe a positive sign of jealousy. Has there ever been a situation where your lady rightfully stepped to somebody who was flirting with you or whatever and like back off? And if so, how did you feel when that happened? If that happened?
It never has happened to me, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Because I'm usually, most of the times when I'm in the runs, I'm more a homebody than going out.
Mhm.
If I'm not going out to dinner with her or to the movies or something together, I'm usually supermarket, gym, work, doctor's appointments, pick up medication. It's simple stuff, like everyday task.
Right.
And I really am like tunnel vision. Like I don't see anything but that. I'm very like, that's what I can literally, if I had their numbers, if any of my exes were still, on my phone list, they will say one thing: he might be a dick, but he's a loyal dick. That's one thing they were never scared of. He was not the person who's. My last ex would say, I know what I have.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
Yeah.
So he goes, you're never going to cheat. You're never going to do anything, to hurt me. And you're always going to provide everything we need around this house.
Mhm.
The funny part is, she ended up breaking up with me and cheating on me. That's the funny part about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me bring up 2 more scenarios as we start to descend and land this plane. A couple more scenarios I want to throw at you. So one of them is looking with your girl present or with your significant other present. So you're in let me just paint the scenario first. You're in either in a club or you're at the beach, right? I don't know if you go to the beach often or you like the beach or whatever, but let's say if you're at the beach and summertime, certain beaches, there's a lot of views. And you may say as a man or a woman, you're going to see bodies there that, especially if your girl might be a bit more on the conservative side. Now, again, I don't know how you feel about beach attire for a woman, but you may, want her to dress a little bit conservatively in that regard because you don't want guys looking at her. But at the same time, you might be at a beach where they got thongs and micro bikinis and stuff like that. And it's like all around and you just be like, so again, in that situation, is a woman just, and you just happen to just be looking, or the head turns a little bit, or the eye gaze might be a 1 to 2 seconds longer than it should have been on somebody that was walking by or something. One, does the woman have a right to be jealous or act jealously in that regard? Or is there a certain amount of people watching? Because it sometimes it gets to a point. There have been times where my wife and I have been somewhere and we clearly see that a woman is dressed in a certain way or looks a certain way, and sometimes she'll point her out to me and she'd be like, can you believe that over there? I'm like, what? I was like, oh, so it's like, I guess you're giving me permission to look at that situation. I know couples that are like that they people watch. Like you be on the beach and you're just sitting there and you're watching all the bodies and comparing bodies to what, no jealousy whatsoever. Some, it's like you look 1 second too long and you're going to get a pop in the head. It's like, hey, were you staring at or something? So where do you fall on situations like that? What's, again, a healthy amount of jealousy, or where can it get to like a toxic form of jealousy in a situation like that when it comes to looking at a member of the opposite sex in a way that is when you may after a time look at it as being disrespectful? Or is there a
So
respectable amount that you can do?
I'm gonna break this down a little bit. All right. So I would never tell my woman what not to wear at the beach because you're at a beach. You're gonna be, most times
Really, you wouldn't?
I have never been in that situation yet. At least right now.
So your woman, you said your woman could wear anything?
At the beach is a beach. You know what I'm saying?
I know. But I know there's some.
I have not
again,
been in that situation yet to say we're
I
going
know
to the beach
some
together.
Okay.
Yeah, I never been with in a relation when I had to go to the beach. That's why
Oh,
I'm saying
really?
that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So
we
again,
usually if we go somewhere like we're going to a friend's pool party, for example.
right.
So most of my exes always wear full body ones. The what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the one piece.
Yeah, the one piece. So I never had to really worried about that personally.
So
That's why I never-
okay. So let's say a situation, one of them decided to wear a G-string. Are you comfortable with that?
hell fucking no. I don't. You,
I maybe
you
I don't know.
that.
Honestly, I said this. I said one. I'm now when it comes to that kind of thing, and again, a lot of guys might be upset with me at this, but I'm more like when you're in Rome, do what the Romans do, kind of thing. My thing is, I never wear anything that would be considered out of place for a particular situation. But I think there is an occasion for every situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you go to a nude beach, I expect people to be nude there. Or if my wife, or I've been to beaches where it's topless, right? Especially in other countries and whatnot, it's topless. And it's no thing. I mean, it's just what people do, and no one's like got their tongues out and just looking at, oh, look at this one, look at that one, or whatever. It's just the norm there, and nobody sort of bats an eye at it. If my wife was like, wanted to hit that scene or whatever, I don't know if I would freak out because again, you're blending in with the crowd that's there. So I wouldn't if we went to Rio and my wife wanted to wear one of those suits like they do in Rio or whatever, I don't know if I'd freak out over that. But I know a lot of guys would be like, yeah, you're going to be covered up at the beach, or you're not going to be wearing, you can wear one piece, you can wear, body shorts or whatever, but you're not wearing that. And that's final. I don't think I've ever been that strict but again, if we're going to a place that's conservative, like it happened last week. My wife is going to be stepping out to go to church to do something, and what she was wearing, it's like, nah, you need to change that. And it was good too because she told me later on, oh, well, the bishop was at the church, so it probably was good. So I was like, I'm glad you told me to change up because she was like, oh, I'm just going to do something, no big deal. But she was there a little bit longer than she wanted to, and it was like she was glad that I kind of called out that that's inappropriate. So I'm always about appropriateness. But I think there's areas where you can be, I wouldn't say inappropriate, but again, I think you dress to where it is so you don't bring unnecessary attention to yourself. That's always been my philosophy when it comes to dress and clothing. I tell my girls, look, dress how, for the environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But I never insisted that they got to be in swimsuits from the 1920s or whatever, or expect them to be so, so uber conservative that they can't show their bodies off. I've never been that.
Most women I've been, they've been a very conservative women. Like they don't show that much skin. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They wear, clothes that complement their bodies.
Right.
But I never had to be in a situation telling them like, go change that right now.
You've never had that situation?
Never had a situation because I always dress appropriate for the matter.
That's good.
At home they were dressed a little more skanky, I guess, when it's called. With booty shorts,
scantily,
like
not skanky.
Yeah,
scantily.
Yeah, you know what I was trying to say. Sorry, but that's at home, so I never really cared.
Right.
But when we're out, I never see them wear like booty shorts or anything like that. They're usually wearing like leggings or jeans or dresses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had to worry about that.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
I've never been in that situation to say don't. That's why I said I'm very open. But if they want to wear something like, that's why I wouldn't have. I'm pretty sure, like because I'm pretty good, judge of character. I hope the woman I'm going to be with next is she knows like, okay, he's not going to be okay with it. I'm not going to test the waters because I'm going to start an argument here.
But you do have a line. I guess the point I'm getting to.
I do have a line. Yeah, it is a line.
You do have there's a line, right?
Yes.
And if she tries to wear something that you feel is like, whoa, that's not gonna work. Now, what if she fights you on it? Like, what if it's like, look, basically you can't tell me what to wear and whatnot, or especially if you're not married to her, it's like, look, you're not my husband or whatever, and I'm just gonna wear. How's that conversation gonna go?
I'll let you know when I have that conversation. I don't know.
Keep me posted if you do, because I'm very curious about how that would how it'll go down. But certainly people watching, I think is certainly, or gawking or staring or something. I think it's healthy for a person to say, hey, eyes on me here. If you're gonna, but I've always said, now look, what my wife, my thing is, if we're going out, it's okay to look hot, not scantily necessarily, but look attractive. Because my thing is, I want to have my eyes on my wife. I want to be looking at you all night. I want to be looking up and down at you doing dinner. Don't give me a reason to look at someone else. But if you're going to be dressing kind of conservatively, and we're going to a place where, again, the populace is going to be dressing in a certain manner, then I don't mind my wife dressing that way. And again, when we in our younger days, especially when we were dating, but in fact we were engaged, we went to this party. It was probably the best party I ever went to. It was actually at the Philadelphia Museum of Natural History. It was a New Year's party. So it's like you walk into the museum and there's a T-Rex right in front of you as soon as you go in. But it was white. It was classy. Girls wearing gowns, dinner gowns and whatnot, with the plunging necklines, and just really, but my wife, she dressed to the nines that night. And I tell you, it's like, in fact, I still got a picture from that night now that I put up, that I'm always referencing. And yeah, so I don't mind. Like I said, I tell my wife, look as attractive as you possibly can, that you can, that you're comfortable with. And yeah, so I never put that restriction to say, okay, yeah, I want you fully covered up, but I don't want guys looking at you or whatever. I say, guys, look, okay, it's like I said, you're not going to bother me in that regard. Yeah, I know she's fine, and you can think in your mind all you want. Yeah, she's fine, but she's going home with me. And again, so I've never had to get sideways with anybody or whatever. But again, I'm always about, you never overdo or bring unnecessary attention to yourself by wearing something inappropriate. But I just think there's a lot of places to wear different things, and you just got to know that ahead of time.
So I'll give you a good example of what you're saying. All right. Not with me, somebody that I know. All right. Was this woman I work with. All right. And she was dressed very well for work appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out, she lives in the same area as me. Oh, okay. Then I find out, she knows almost half the people that I go to church with. So, and she was an Italian woman, and I was just out talking, and one day we bumped into each other. If I'm like 6 months after we stopped working together, I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? Whatever. Fast forward, and we're on Facebook, friends, and I see her, posting pictures. Like, she knows how to balance it correctly, how to look sexy and not expose too much skin at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's the balance that women have to play. You have to play like balance game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think a lot of women are playing that balance game, especially the younger ones. It's like, show as much skin as you could possibly get. Especially, I'm going to like football games, like Rutgers football games, whatnot, and seeing how some of these ladies are dressing. I'm like, it's we had this one. I'll just share this. So, and I don't think my wife would mind me sharing this. So we're in line. This lady, she's got on, again, going to a football game, but she's basically got this black lace dress on that's basically transparent, and you can see her. You can see her undergarments. Let's just say that. I'm like, we're going to a football game here. It's like, again, that's what I'm saying by like inappropriate. Why? And yes, I get it. You're with your guy or whatever, and whatnot. You guys want to have a a good time at the game or whatnot. But I just don't think a football game's appropriate for what she was wearing. And again, if that was my lady, I'd be like, look, you know, you need to wear something more appropriate to a game. If we're going to, well, say I can't even think of where I would have my wife wearing that anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, but that's an example of what I'm talking about. Again, inappropriate for the occasion that you're in is something that I'll always call attention to and make sure that with all even my daughters or whatnot. If I have agency, I think one time we went to I think it was like a family reunion, and I kind of got on my daughter at the time because she didn't bring appropriate dress, whether she was dressing like she was kind of going to a club. And I'm like, no, you're going to a reunion. You're going to see your, you know, older aunties and, you know, grand aunties and things like that. It's like, you need something better. So we kind of had a little bit of a conversation because again, my thing is, and, you know, this is what I was talking about on your show last week. We're talking about the interview process. I think that there are appropriate levels of dress.
Your show, by the way, not mine.
Thank you. Appropriate levels of dress for every occasion. I think there need to be staples in your closet. So, woman, there's business professional, there's business casual, there's you know, there's different things. You should have, you know, a pair of black shoes. You should have some business, some slacks. You should have a blazer. You should have a blouse. You should have certain things in your arsenal should be there. If you're going out, you should know what a cocktail dress is. You should know what a dinner dress is. You should never be in a situation where you don't have those things in your arsenal. Again, going to the club, going to the beach or whatever, okay, you know, dress the way you want. But I do think there's an appropriateness that I think that needs to be recognized, and you should be buying clothes that have it. Whether you might put that dress on once a year, but at least you know you have it, and you know when you're going into a place, you know you're not going to embarrass yourself or any other member of the family because you didn't pick out something that was appropriate. And again, I know my daughters, you know, sometimes their taste is such, it's like, oh, that looks like an old woman's dress or whatever, but it's appropriate for the occasion, you know. And so you need to recognize that and not just wear stuff that because you think it looks hot or sexy because that's how Kim Kardashian or someone like that is dressing. Even they, I would think, know that there's certain things that they can't wear on certain occasions. And, you know, so that was a thing that, especially when they were in their, you know, later teens, that I had to kind of, you know, step in and be dad on and be like, hey, you know, I'm not trying to be, you know, ogre about it, but you need to know what it means to be appropriate.
I'll be honest with you, Paul. Like, I know you don't go to bars, but the few times I've been to bars lately, not a few times, the multiple times I've been to bars, these kids is less skin than a porno right now.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
And I'm literally at a DJ with my buddy Frank. I'm having my beer, minding my own business. Where like you know, his wife is there usually, and me and her are usually bullshitting with some other guys that support him. And all of a sudden we look over, like she goes, and I look over like, the fuck, like literally like a stripper has more clothes than her. She does. Like, yeah. And it's freezing, you know, like the other night was pretty cold out. Remember, like it was like in the 30s, and they're still walking out. There were no jackets, anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, you know, like what do you like, again? But again, it's an image, especially with social media. You know, you want to take the pictures looking hot or whatever. You know, you want to take the selfies and stuff, and it's just it's you know, I think there's, like I said, there has to be. And I'm not saying that there are places where you can't wear that stuff, but in certain places, it's like, no, you know, you need to be able to set that. Now, again, somebody may say, oh, well, you're being jealous or whatever. I'm just being smart. Do I look at it in that situation? And I want, you know, certainly for the women in my life, the ones I have influence over, I can say, hey, you know, you might want to wear, you know, something better. So I don't mind, you know, calling that out. And again, I'm glad you haven't had that experience yet, but if you ever do, get back to me on that and see how it was handled. But as far as people watching, as far as staring and glancing and whatnot, yeah, I think, especially as old as, and again, this may come with age also. I've seen it. If you're like a younger couple, again, if your gaze is 1 second too long, then that can start a fight. But it gets to a point after a while, it's like my wife and I know that we're not separating anytime soon. So if she stares at somebody, or if I stare at somebody or whatever, we may laugh about it, or she may say something like, "Oh, was it that good?" or something like that. And we just have a laugh about it, just keep it moving. Because again, we know we're going home together. I think a lot of jealousy comes from a sense of insecurity. As we said earlier, jealousy meaning the fear of losing something or someone. And your insecurities can certainly lead to that, or inflame a situation that really could have been handled simply with a conversation. Even if you said, "Hey, I don't appreciate it when you make," or if you make comments about someone else, how they look. "Oh yeah, that woman, she was really attractive, and she had on," if stuff that makes you uncomfortable, express it, right? Share it with the person that you're with, that, "Hey, I don't like it when you do X, Y, and Z. It makes me uncomfortable." And then again, now you have a decision to make whether or not you want to comply with that, or again, you don't want to inflame a situation. Why would you want to, especially if you want to be serious with somebody? Why would you be doing things that would intentionally upset them? So avoid doing those particular things. But for a lot of people, they just don't get the hint, and they'll just keep walking in and doing things that again inflame a situation and make it bigger than what it is. But insecurity is a major driver of jealousy. And when you hear the extreme cases where it's like, "Well, who was that on the phone, and where you been," and the kind of stalking stuff or whatever, yeah, none of that's healthy. But like I said, at the same time, though, if my wife didn't have a little bit of it, I don't know if I would feel secure in that, because basically what she's saying is, "Look, I can take him or leave him."
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that she says, "No, that is my man. I'm sorry, you can't be stepping up to my man." There's one time I was at, we were away on business or whatever, so we're staying at a hotel, and the desk clerk, we're checking in and everything, and I think she was complimenting what I was wearing or something like that. And my wife, she kind of smirkingly says, "She better get off my man." it was
Yeah,
it was,
I'm gonna throw a catch-22 for you right now, all right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's say, because I've been with women like that, some women won't point out other women, like one of my exes, like the male lady here. She's a pretty good looking woman. I'm not gonna deny it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have thrown my little comments out there once in a while when I see her, because we
Mm-hmm.
don't our schedules online.
Right.
Like I used Alex as leverage the other day, a couple weeks ago. No, 3 months ago. It was she was getting out, and Alex is barking. And I'm like, I looked at her like, "Ooh, let me grab Alex." He was like, "Oh, that's your dog?" Like, "Yeah, he likes barking on a beautiful woman. What can I say?" And she gave me this biggest grin in the world. Was probably the cheesiest line she ever heard in her life.
Mm-hmm.
But she walked by us. We walked by. She turned around. She goes, grabs my hand. She just spins my hand like, "Look at that culo." I'm like, the fuck? Lower your fucking voice. I went to her. You're loud as shit. Anyway,
Right.
I had women who point out women to me, just like, "Yo, look at her. She has nice rack." I'm like, the fuck? What do you say about that catch-22?
Well, if she's giving you I guess an open license, I think I described that situation a little bit earlier. I mean, if some people watch together, like you're on the beach or whatever, you're hanging out your lawn chairs or beach chairs or whatever, and you're just looking at people going by, whatnot, and sometimes a comment will be made, positive or negative, like, "She does not need to be in that suit. You see her over there, look at it. I mean, she's way too big to be in that suit." Or that is way too skinny to, or this or that, or she's got nice legs. What I mean, we kind of go back and forth. We don't do it a lot, but it's not to the point where, again, neither one of us is insecure in our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like I said, it kind of boils down to that. So if your lady is such where she is pointing out other ladies to you and saying, "Look at this and look at that," or whatever, then I would take that as a sign that she's relatively secure. It's not like she's saying you to look at it. She's not saying to gawk at it or go after it. So I would say in that you probably have someone who's relatively secure in the situation that you're in. So that's probably a positive thing. But there's some where it's like, again, a second too long. It's like, I caught you looking at. Why are you looking at her like that? Don't be looking at. I'm here.
I was
Like,
lucky enough
it
to
was
never be in that situation, to be honest with you.
yeah. So again, I think some, it can get to that point where again that jealousy can come out of insecurity. But if you're like in love with somebody, like not just respect all those things are good, but when you're like passionate about somebody that you want them and you want to be with them a lot. Now okay, here's one last thing I'll give and we'll run down the show. When it comes to time, because jealousy can also manifest as, again, you're so afraid of losing someone that you don't give them space. You don't get space. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt that she was just too clingy to you and just wouldn't give, hey, I want to go? Like she would have had a problem you going to Comic-Con last week. Oh, you're gonna be out all day with the guys? Oh, where you going? Oh, you going? And it's like, look, I'm going to Comic-Con, hanging out with the guys, whatever, just like we did, no problem. But she's got a problem with it because she just wants to be in your biz, or she wants to be with you all the time. Does it get to a point where a woman, in your view, can be smothering to the point where it's like, yeah, this is getting bad, and that might be driven from her jealousy or insecurity?
Actually, it's been the other way around for me.
How so?
Yeah, I want to spend more time than she could deal with sometimes.
Oh, okay. Right.
The other way around, like I said. Like she's not smothering me, I'm smothering her sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But in my defense, also, most of my friends, like are across the border of the country. Like I don't have that many friends that are in state.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get a chance to hang out with somebody, I'm like, shit, I'm jumping. I'm doing like this today. A bunch of guys from church was like, yo, let's go some pizza. I'm like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we were out till 4 o'clock having pizza and joking around and talking about stuff.
Yeah.
They don't have the opportunity as much as I do because we have life and we work and have stuff. So, I feel it's more, I'll have more time to spend time with my girl versus my friends.
Right.
So I want to spend time with her as much as possible because her schedule's so, packed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But I've had friends of mine who, and again, they're married now, so it's not. But I remember when they were dating, and I think like it was so, sometimes how a relationship it gets so hot really fast, and it's like you want to be with that person all the time. But I think he mentioned, he mentioned that he wanted to do something with us, and he said that to her, and she was just feeling a certain way about it. And I kind of looked at him a little bit, and I was thinking, to me, that was a little bit of a red flag. It's like, wait a minute, you're with her all the time. It's like, you can't stop talking about this with her. So you're saying one night with the guys, and she's, acting out of pocket, like, oh my gosh, it's like. So I was kind of like, are you? I kind of said, it's like, are you sure you want to, be with her? Because I just thought that was just like kind of too much. It's like, yeah, I get it. You're liking or falling in love with somebody and whatnot, but is to get to a point where again it's like you want to be around them too much, or they don't give you some space because you understand there's other parts of your life. You have family, you have friends, you have how do you strike that balance between wanting to be with
I
her
was
and,
lucky enough with all the women I've been, and I tell them like, yo, I'm spending time with my boys, my guys, or my friends, whatever you want to break it down. Like, have fun. Like, not gonna ask questions. Like, nope.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be? Nope. Why not? You're trustworthy, dumbass. Simple as that. They tell me all the time.
And that's a great situation to be in. But what if she had a fit about it? What if she's like, oh, you going out your friend? I mean, don't you want to be with me?
I always give them I never had an issue with that. I always give them have time. Like Comic-Con is on that date. If when I was dating somebody, like I'm going to Comic-Con before the network, before the Spartan HQ network, before all this, I used to go with my cousin. I used to give her my exes heads up, like, yo, I'm going to Comic-Con with my cousin. Have fun.
Yeah,
I came a year in advance. That's what I'm doing every year.
Yeah, for sure.
Event.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
how much more adventure you need for that?
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And if she has a problem with that, then that, to me, that would be kind of a red flag. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I think there's a healthy amount of jealousy. As we're just getting into our final thoughts. I think jealousy, I think it can be a healthy emotion, especially with someone who you love, someone who you think is important that you want to spend time with. And I think there's certainly, it can express itself in healthy forms. It keeps it spicy a little bit. It keeps it like, I better stay on my P's and Q's a bit. But if you start to develop these insecurities, then I think that's when it gets toxic. When, again, the fear of losing, and you lose total perspective on what you have. The fact that the person's saying, look, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just fill in the blank. I'm going here, or I'm doing this or whatever. You shouldn't be jealous about that. Or because someone gave me some praise or whatever for what I'm doing, you shouldn't be jealous or envious about that. I think that's where it gets off, but it's based on your insecurities, not necessarily that of the other person. So I think there's certainly boundaries that you need to explain and you need to honor when it comes to certain things. Be true to your word. If you say you're going to do something, and do it. But outside of that, I think jealousy in many ways I think it's more positive than a lot of people give it credit for.
Absolutely.
Whereas people always trying to paint it in a negative light. I think, you need I think a little jealousy in a relationship is the spice that keeps things together. So that'd be my final thought on it. But yours, Pete?
The balance is the most important thing. If you can find the balance, you found peace in life. Simple as that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think we said a lot tonight.
Yeah.
And if you've any questions what we said, hit the rewind button and you can see what I mean.
There you go. We appreciate you guys being with us again on this gray area in October. So again, look for it next week. We're having a major interview coming out. So again, you'll be getting all those details rolled out this week, and there'll be several interviews scheduled. So looking forward to another phase in the gray area. We get back to interviewing, and definitely looking forward to those conversations.
I can safely say, as the guy who's booking all this stuff, we have two, one next week and one next month booked in, ready to go. I can say that's in the works, right? Already set in. So look forward to those.
There you go. Spread the word, guys. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time. Good night.